welcome to episode 2 of our mini-series on team building. In this one, my colleague Samantha is asking me what teams need to be effective long-term. It's a complex question, which I hope I answered simply enough. So let's get into this important question. This is a tough one because, if you think about a team or an organization like a garden, and the people within it are the flowers or the plants, to say what is the one thing that makes that plant grow and thrive, it's impossible because there are so many things. There are some things that are more important than others, but it is impossible to say there's just one thing. But if I'm forced to say what have I observed as one of the key ingredients to success, I'd say it's trust. Great people, the great leaders that I observe, are really great at developing trust. And that trust comes through in one of the key values that we search for, which is integrity. Integrity is what you think, what you say, and what you do all align. And through having integrity of action, people can start to understand, okay, this is a person that I can trust to be consistent, or I can trust in their judgment. And that is, I think, then the bedrock upon which the whole community survives. So yeah, I think trust has to be that one, like really, really key one.
If we're talking trust, that's a very difficult thing to recruit for in particular, because trust is something that you build over time. So although integrity is obviously a key part of that, how would you go about looking for someone that you could trust when you're recruiting for your team?
Assessing for trust and integrity comes back to one of the fundamentally difficult things about great recruitment, which is that the best indicator of long-term relationships in recruitment are all down on the values that the candidate possesses. So you've got to get really good at assessing values as part of that. But more specifically, how would I go about assessing trust? Well, the way we do it, it's not easy. It's a multi-layered approach. But one, you want to check, if you've got multiple people interviewing, that there is consistency in story. And that's a great way. Are people lying? Are they fabricating? Are they confusing stories and outcomes to a point where you become concerned? That's one indicator. And then on top of that, we're layering references. So we're asking them early on in a process, not at the end. I mean, like early on, maybe after the first interview. Do you have some references that we can take, people we can talk to about you? And we'll start to figure out pretty quickly whether or not there's enough people in the market who they've developed strong relationships with that they will trust to reach out to and have a conversation with them about them. And then I'll be asking questions about the things I've observed. And then it becomes a multifaceted approach. So, you've got a number of stages in the process in which you can do that. All of the conversations should be indicating someone's behavioral traits of trust. Do they have good integrity? And then the external observations of people around them is another one.
Cool. So it's definitely sort of trust relating to honesty, integrity, those kinds of elements. Because I suppose when I think trust is quite all-encompassing as a term, because you could trust someone to take responsibility and execute something, but maybe not trust them to turn up on time.
Yeah, that's a great observation. Look, you've got to understand what do you things you actually care about as well. Like, do I care if someone turns up on time? No, not really. What I care about is if they need to turn up on time because it would jeopardize the outcome of a meeting. And if they promised me that they would turn up on time and they didn't, then I want to know why. Shit happens. But if it's a regular occurrence, then I'd have a question to ask, like, what is going on in their life that they can't follow through on their word? They can't have integrity of action. But if I know that someone is generally not a great person of timekeeping, but they are a wonderful creative, or they're great with technology, or they are an incredibly caring and considerate person, hardworking in many other areas of their life, then I'm going to probably be okay with that, as long as that we can have frank and honest conversations. And what does it mean as a big indicator? But I get your point. So it's integrity of action, right?
Mm. Mm.
Can I trust this person when stuff gets really hard and difficult to follow through?